Christopher, good to see you again.
Yeah, David, it's nice to connect again. And how are things doing there in California? Is it still cold?
Well, Jimmy Kimmel did a good joke on his show last week about the news, articles and the news segments they're doing about the cold here, about how people don't know how to handle 60-degree weather here. So, we don't have gloves and we don't have mittens and we don't know what to do in the cold. We go a little crazy here. So it's been chilly for my aspect of cold. I mean, 40s in the night, and yeah, it's been cold.
Hmm. Well, yeah, we had, I think it was like 7 below 0 at dawn this morning when I got up. Um,
Wow.
but it did rally, so we're back up into more agreeable range of temperature tonight. And
Good.
that, so anyway, what are your thoughts on this coming week? We're starting off with a Friday the 13th, and hopefully the myth of Friday the 13th won't prevail during the day. People will get through the day without having, who was it, the guy with a hatchet or the hockey mask show up.
Mhm. Yeah. I think the guy, what's it called? Freddy or Jason from Friday and the 13th.
Yeah, Jason and his hockey mask. So,
Yeah.
well, that might appear though on the 17th with Uranus getting ready to do its happy dance too.
Yeah, I think we're on a build-up here. I think we're coming into a very interesting zone as we step into Friday with a moon in Taurus, which I think is important to have a moon in Taurus as we step into our weekend because we're grounding ourselves in our value systems. And with all this Sagittarius, Sun and Mercury energy that's starting to get closer as Mercury has really caught up speed, there's a lot to understand in our life. There's a lot to grow with. There's a lot of, you know, new observations that I think we're wanting to step into. And it's this moon in Taurus and this energy that's kind of around the chart that's about us grounding and seeing what's important to, set our intentions in or open our minds to. I think it's important for us to ground in a lot of what's solid and what's worth even wasting our time with or not.
Well, yeah, and especially as the moon continues to progress through Taurus, because we're going to watch it oppose Saturn and get a final little zig out of Saturn, I think, over the weekend. I think that's going to come up as discernment. I think a lot of people are going to make some final decisions. Do I want the blue Mercedes or do I want the red Mercedes? That sort of thing. Because Saturn is, right now in Scorpio, and it's in that mid-range, and it's ready to make some solid decisions as it gets ready to advance and move forward and head towards Sagittarius.
It is. It's a very interesting position for Saturn to be as it trines Jupiter in Cancer. And this is a solid placement. This is a multi-year placement. Saturn and Jupiter did this trine at the beginning of the summer, and then it's going to do it in May of next year. So this is a wider angle of us really having to open our feelings and for us to do something solid with these feelings. And that's why I think this moon in Taurus is important as we come into the weekend, as it's only time to open our feelings into things that we can maybe manage with. It's not important for us to be emotional over things we can't do anything with. The Saturn energy makes sure that we're focusing very specifically on the correct emotions to take off in the right directions with, especially with the Sagittarius energy that's about growing and optimism and learning. No more can you be crying about things that aren't worth crying for anymore. No more can you invest emotionally into things that aren't tangible or that's going to make some sort of achievement out of it. So this is a multi-year, or it's a one-year transit really, but it's a long story that over this last 6 months and for the next 6 months, I think there's a lot of powerful projects, a lot of powerful feelings inside that we're trying to make something of. And this energy is picking up at this time period for a reason.
It is, and going to be enshrined to good old Pluto sitting there in Capricorn that has been really, coloring our world for quite a while now, and is going to continue for a number of years. And every time we have interaction with the moon and the sun and the inner planets as they're aspecting the Plutonian aspect, it creates a kind of a bond. It unites us with our humanity. It unites us with our fellow man. So I think we'll see camaraderie as one of the themes that comes up over the weekend. And I think that's going to play out very nicely also. So we've got, Saturn in a nice position there in good old Scorpio, 8th house energy. Pluto sitting up there on the midhaven in the 10th house in Capricorn, and Taurus in the 2nd house, helping us refine our ideals, helping us to refine our value system. So overall, I think it's going to be kind of a warm, fuzzy weekend. But then the moon slides into Gemini and starts a trine with Mars in Libra and interacting with Uranus in Aries. So yeehaw.
Yeah, and we're gonna have a full moon in Gemini, and this full moon is a very powerful one because it's happening before this, this Uranus big T square that's starting to form, and Uranus coming direct. Like you brought up, the 17th, Uranus is going to come on. This is a big electric storm that's about to come on, and really unpredictable energy. And with Mars interacting with this, and with this full moon that's building, I think that there's a lot of our perceptions and these value systems, because Venus as well is at a stationary position. It's only going to go one more degree before it goes retrograde. So Venus is pretty much stopped. This is a really weird zone of preparation this weekend and into this week, and then we get these powerful energies to come in to rearrange our perceptions correctly, because I think it's a ticket into this new world that we're all going. And what the destination is off your perceptions, what your mind, your belief structures are setting itself up for here this weekend and into this full moon that really gets powerful Sunday into Monday here. That it really is about triggering these correct perceptions, which are the ticket to your next journey. And you've got to pay attention to these, because we're about to really step into something powerful here. And you're going to want to have the right ticket. You're going to want to have your perceptions in the right place. You're going to want to value things that aren't dead weight, I'm calling it, because a lot of us are going to jump on the wild horse, and you're not going to want a backpack full of crap. You want to be fancy free and only bring with you something that's worthy, a plan in your consciousness that's ready to explode. So when you jump on this new wild ride, you do something with it. You hop over the fence, and you maybe go to the place that you've always wanted to go.
Well, and interestingly enough, we're watching this kind of a cluster of somewhat exotic energy, because we've got air signs involved, we've got fire signs involved, we've got Uranus interacting with the Sun and Mercury, we've got it interacting with Mars and Libra. The moon will be in Gemini going full, so there's a huge amount of fire-air energy. And I find it somewhat curious as to how this is going to continue to affect us, because this is also getting ready to manifest on the eve of the solstice. And when we hit that counterpoint where the days start getting longer, we bring the colors, we bring the influences of the previous full days, full moon days, and Sun's position as it shifts over into Capricorn. So it's going to be kind of an advent that is going to have I think, some positive and remarkable overtones for the nature of 2014. It's going to influence the solstice, and it's going to influence relationships especially, and it's going to influence our fortune, our destiny. That 10th house energy is where it's all going to manifest.
Yes, it is. And this Sagittarius Gemini axis full moon is about change. You know, that mutable energy is about change, and it's change of the mind, it's change of your observations. And it's amazing how powerful our mind, our belief structures really are. And the change that we can make in our life based off these placements. And it is the trigger of the Uranus direct energy, because literally on the 16th and the 17th is when the full moon is official. And here it is then, you know, right after the full moon, Uranus turns on. So this is kind of the calm before the storm weekend, and then you step into this week and there's going to be a lot of energy brewing, and then right after that, here's Mars coming into oppose Uranus, and this can be very intense, very masculine energy, meaning the fireball energy that's just turned on. I think that this is going to be a lot of pressure in people's lives to start taking actions into, you know, your destiny, just like you brought up, into correct identification. And we're going to start to see this relationship game that you just brought up, which this is going to be a new game we're stepping into, a new karmic zone, as Venus is at 28 degrees, and we're going to be pretty much a week away from it turning. And that solstice period you brought up, this is all leading towards that solstice period, with the Mars opposing Uranus, with Mars squaring Pluto, with Venus going retrograde. And it's about a new chapter. We're about to step into a new chapter, and this one's going to last a long time, because we're going to have Mars and Venus. They're going to start being in cardinal signs and square off. Mars is going to get ready to come into a shadow period soon. And, you know, if you look at ahead in the astrology, it's the first week of March that all this energy finally kind of turns gears, as, you know, Venus will leave Capricorn, Mars will go retrograde, Jupiter will come back on. So this is the beginning of a new portal into a 3-month adventure that I'm seeing us enter.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that it's going to be a paradigm shift that we can actually visibly perceive in our surroundings. The last couple of years, I've noticed the intensity of the sky and the intensity of clouds, you know, things like that. I have always been inclined to look upward during the day as well as at night. And I am seeing something happen in the heavens that is unique. There is something going on that we haven't fully identified yet. And I think that this solstice is going to see another shift in the light. The light is going to come through from a different angle. It's going to come through with a different intensity, simply because we're getting, you know, more and more entrenched in what was identified as a Mayan shift, or whatever you want to call it. But I think we're moving forward with that kind of transformative energy. So I think a lot of people are going to come out of 2013 and move into 2014 with a different sense of what the world holds for them, and a different sense of what the color and context and texture of their life is all about.
Yeah, it's all about this weird change that you described, especially, I mean, the weather's a good way to look at it, energetically. But this outer world, I think, is gonna turn on more when Uranus comes direct. Uranus deals with very unique energy and extreme wild change, and I think we've been so deep in this inner world and trying to figure out our insides that it's almost like God turns the light back on with this Uranus energy and this POW with the Mars energy in Libra, and it's going to be a POW that comes in, and a really wild holiday. I think this is going to be a really intense kind of vibe. I think it's been a little, I'll be honest, a little boring, a little, even though it's been so intense inside. I think in our outer worlds, you know, it's been kind of flowing and going, but this is a big spark to the reality, a big jolt. And I think we're all going to feel this jolt, and it's going to be a turn on in people's lives. Like, okay, wow, I need to get going again. I need to do something. This is interesting that during the holidays, where we usually want to relax, you know, the universe is almost pressuring us to go. It's interesting.
Yeah, we're carrying the Sagittarius energy well into Capricorn. It is going to be a travel-oriented time, and I think that there's a wanderlust that is starting to build already. I'm noticing with some of my clients that they're talking about traveling during a time frame when they're normally entrenched at home. So yeah, everything is getting stirred up, and I think Uranus is the release point, and I think it's very important. But I also think that as we're watching Neptune begin to actually figure out what it's going to do, we're going to see uh, some uh, another cycle of this intense dreaming, intense intuitive flashes. I think that's going to carry us through the holidays, and it's going to be kind of fun to see how that manifests in the collective consciousness. Because on the Facebook page that you've set up there, we've had quite a bit of discussion about dream cycles
Mm-hmm.
and the Neptunian effect, the Uranian effect, the Plutonian effect, and I think all three of the heavy planets are really going to continue to fuel dreams, hunches, deeper feelings bubbling up to the surface, and intuition.
Yeah, that's Neptune definitely gonna see that power come in as Neptune finally has come off its stationary position and starting to free up, and it's gonna be much more of an imaginative journey than I think we've ever gone through in our lives, especially in 2014 as it advances much deeper into all this Pisces energy. And it's interesting now that Neptune's it's come off a lot of the planets. The one thing that's starting to build though with Neptune is the nodes, as the nodes are starting to connect here. And this I think is going to be a key ticket as Jupiter and Saturn start to break off at the end of this week. I mean, already it's amazing. They were at 18, now Jupiter's at 17 and Saturn's at 19. So this kind of energy breaks of us really having to pick the right feelings out to build something off of. And now the imagination begins to take those things into the right energies as we're forced by the universe to make some cardinal energy, which is season starting energy, to take initiative, to begin things, to move forward, and to identify and to be planned with and to be destined with and to build new relationships and explore our feelings, because we end the end of this week with the moon passing over Jupiter, trining Saturn, trining Neptune, opposing Venus before it goes retrograde. And this is a lot. It's a lot. It's a
Is
lot
that
to handle, and it's a lot to observe too.
exactly? And whenever you're in those early degrees, that's when things are being redefined. And like you said, we've got the nodes in the early degrees, 3 degrees of Scorpio and 3 degrees of Taurus. So as they continue to move backwards and advance to the fire air offset, we're going to see things definitely come up on the realm of karmic payback and karmic payoff, because when the nodes do finally slide into that Aries Libra polarity, they're definitely going to put the highlight on individual egos and collective ego, and how we're manifesting our own destiny here. So all of this stuff is definitely building and intensifying, and it's going to play out through the nodes as they start to make those final couple of degrees out of the earth water energy into the fire air energy.
Yeah, this is going to be a powerful shift of 2014. Much different, but lots of, I guess the similarity of 2013 to 2014 that's brewing is there are mass changes that are going to continue. Just different stories, still a deep inner world that's changing, but I think the nodes getting out of Scorpio Taurus is going to be felt extremely for a lot of people. And as we leave this week, at the end of this week, we leave we leave getting ready for a solstice change, and there's a little in-between window after such big changes that we begin that following next weekend with more. I mean, it's like, so, it's interesting that the energy just is in a huge ramp up once we get off the beginning of this weekend that we start this week.
Exactly. Yeah, and that full moon is definitely going to be, the intensity of that moon is going to be something that is going to be very pervasive. I found it interesting that when the moon went through Aries just a few days ago, that I and probably a half a dozen other people that I had dialogue with over the 24-hour period we were very much aware of the electrical quality of what was going on, because it was first interacting with Mars, so you got a jolt of energy there. Then it's interacting with Uranus, and it's pulling the Mars energy into the Uranian region, and nobody was getting any sleep. I was up for like 30 hours nonstop, and I think quite a few other people were feeling that ziggy energy. So every once in a while, if something seems odd or out of character for you, take a look at the moon's activity and what its interaction is with other planets in the heavens, because a lot of times it gives you kind of a sense of, oh, this is how this manifests for me. This is the kind of energy, and I can look forward to, next month, as it goes through a somewhat similar series of interactions, somewhat similar outcomes as far as my own personal energy up and down and sideways is manifesting.
Yeah, especially with Jupiter in Cancer, it's pretty much the big storybook that's playing are these feelings and where we go in them and how it connects with everything and how personal our emotions are connected to these different planetary positions. I mean, it's pretty powerful stuff, and this is the beginning of a powerful shift in our lives. We kind of had a little bit of a break there, and this one's starting another story. This one's revving up a new engine, and I'm quite excited to see where this engine goes. I think Uranus coming online is really powerful stuff. Especially for me being a fire sign, and I have a lot of planets in this area. For me, I'm interested, as really interested, and I think this is a good time for a lot of people to, if there's something you want, fire that engine up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is definitely a manifestation kind of energy. So if you do grab it, you'll find unexpected doors open in a very Uranian way. And you'll find opportunities just popping up that come out of nowhere seemingly. So yeah, it is something that has a personal effect, and you can definitely get the rewards of it.
Yes. Well, what do the cards say?
Yeah, let's take a look and see what the cards have to say. We're starting off with Friday, and as we move into the weekend, we got the Fool card. So this to me would indicate that with a solid, grounded Taurus energy, if there's something you've been wanting to do for a while, this is a perfect time frame to get out and do it. Take the leap of faith. Kind of, dare yourself to do this or to do that, and have fun with it over the course of the weekend. Then by the wind down on Sunday, Monday, we'll begin to see that air energy really start to, build dramatically. Monday, we're going to definitely feel the effects of the moon's entrance into Gemini, and it will be getting a lot of energy from that Mars position in Libra early on. So, and then of course it'll be sextiling the Uranian energy as well as opposing the Sun. So the first couple of days of next week are going to be very flighty. People are going to be agitated. They're going to want to get out and do things and move around. A little bit of a spark midweek as we see that full moon, the opposition going on between the Sun in Gemini, or Sun in Sagittarius, the Moon in Gemini, and again, you look at the nature of those two signs. Gemini is all about communication, and Sagittarius is wanderlust. It is very restless. It wants to go and learn in new environments. So very, very ziggy kind of week coming up. But by the end of the week, we'll discover that we've had manifestations coming up that are big payoffs. You know, Six of Pentacles. We've got a new level of balance coming in. We're feeling a little bit more confident about the direction our life is going. And with the sun getting ready to slide into Capricorn, we're going to have that reinforced, grounded kind of energy for next weekend. That's going to be very, very comfortable, I think, for everybody. So overall, a very interesting week. The cards are they're telling us, you know, that a lot of intimate transformations are at hand, and you really, if you're paying attention, you're going to get the rewards for your efforts.
Yeah, it's almost like our inner work that we've been doing for so long finally pays off.
Yeah, and how appropriate. It comes at Christmas time, you know. So
Yeah.
we've got St. Nick arriving with a bag of goodies for us, and after a few sparks, after a little bit of craziness with the Uranian-Mars opposition, etc., then we're going to really feel like we're mobilizing and moving in a new direction with a lot of optimism and just overall feeling of well-being as we move into the actual holidays.
Especially for the chart of America, you know, that's kind of coming up. And I think you and I can maybe do a New Year's segment on what we might see in the American chart, because that chart's about to have some interesting things happen. And that all happens here at the beginning of the year. So, and yeah, we're building up here for a holiday that I think most people will remember. But I want to say this, you know, with the South Node in Taurus and this North Node Scorpio Taurus energy, this is a weirder Christmas where it's not so much, I think, about the physical gifts as much as the spiritual gifts and the emotional gifts this year. If you spend a lot of money on somebody and they just don't emotionally get as attached to it as you would want, realize that's kind of the energy, that people are wanting more of the intimate connection this year with you than the gift, you know?
Yeah, people are definitely looking for a deeper level of connectivity, and they're wanting to finish off a lot of this karmic activity that the nodes are compelling us to address. So again, you know, our own personal value system, second house, and eighth house, sex and drugs and rock and roll. So
yeah, it's gonna be one of those years where it's like really go deep with people. And you know, you can go buy something. You know, I just went and bought a brand new iPad. These things are expensive, and it's cool, but nothing can compete to the emotional feeling I have with you on this program or anybody in my life. You know, it's like, it's cool for a second, and then, you know, it kind of like loses its feeling. It's like there's so many other deeper things with Saturn here and everything that we're really wanting to harbor in.
Oh, absolutely, and it's definitely going to be a very emotional, I think, and cathartic in some ways, Christmas season for a lot of people. And if you're willing to operate from the level of the heart and open your heart up, it's going to bring some glorious moments that you will remember well into your dotage.
Yeah, well, I look forward to next week as we'll do our Christmas horoscope and get ready also for the new year, which I think you and I should do a special with.
Yes, I think that's on the horizon. We definitely can maybe even have a two-part, the day before and the day after 2013, 2014. So.
Yeah, no, I'd love to. So, well, thanks, Chris. It was so good, and this was a great show. I'm really looking forward to getting this one out. So.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a very affirming and validating and grounding show for people for their holidays, because if you go with the program, you're going to have a great holiday this year.
Oh, yes. So, well, you have a good one, and I will talk to you very soon and make sure you stay warm.
Yes, you got your kitty cat to keep you warm.
Yeah, yeah, I'm set.
Okay. Well, take care, David, and I
All
look
right.
forward to chatting with you in 1 week.
All right, Chris, I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.